Most of you will already be aware of who 2-year-old Kaylee Anthony was. The majority will know that she sadly passed away at some point between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. on June 16, 2008. Her death is undoubtedly the most heartbreaking part of this story, and we only need a single word to epitomize her short life: tragic. But the primary subject of this video is not about the life nor the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony. It is in fact about the psychological constitution of her mother, 22-year-old.
That's crazy. I showed assumed that was her mama. Like, that's crazy how I got that right. I thought about it in my head, like that must be her mom.
Casey Marie Anthony. So rather than tragic, you'll find the words disturbing and perplexing to be far better suited to the theme of this video. One of the many reasons this case is exceptional is how the present day's topic of discussion has little to do with the actual occurrences of the crime, but in fact the subsequent developments that followed. People are no longer talking about how or even why Kaylee Anthony passed away. They are instead talking about the manner in which a mother responded to her daughter's death. Given all the acquired information we now have, even if we afford this person the most morally acceptable possibility of what occurred, her manner of conduct was still unimaginably cold-blooded. This is driven home by the fact she was evaluated by 2 clinical psychologists during her time in custody, and not a single abnormality was discovered with relation to her psychological state. In other words, there were no signs of mental illness whatsoever. And this makes the character study of Casey Anthony just...
Hey, yo, lie. This picture, not a good look. She do look kind of psychotic right here.
just as fascinating as it is terrifying. A human being's state of mind is something...
I ain't gonna lie, it's really her eyes. Like, her eyes look like they just big, but not in a bad way, but like, I feel like it don't help the case for her looking like, you know, kind of psychotic, you know what I'm saying?
Something most accurately assessed with the full capacity of hindsight. So before we evaluate our first segment of raw footage, here's a quick rundown of each of the essential moments that will give you a broader understanding of what we're actually dealing with. On the 15th of July, 2008, Orlando police received a call from Cindy Anthony, the grandmother of the victim.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff. I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. We're talking about a 3-year-old little girl. My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her. Your daughter admitted that the baby is where? But the babysitter took her a month ago. My daughter's been looking for her. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. She just been...
Okay. I might be coming to a conclusion, right? But what would make a mother do that to a 3-year-old daughter? I'm just saying, I don't know. Hey, I might be reaching, but I already think the mama guilty. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't new to this. It ain't nothing for me to solve a case. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I'm like, how many and oh, you know what I'm saying? I haven't lost the case yet. I'm too official. You know what I'm saying? I should have been a lawyer. I should have worked for the FBI. You feel me? But, you know, yeah, I got other things to do. You feel me? But look, I already think the mama guilty. But in every crime, there's always a motive. Therefore, I'm wondering, what is the motive of the mother? What is the motive of the mother? What would make a grown woman, not only what would make a grown woman harm a child, but what would make a grown woman harm her own child? Now, it may be many reasons that you may want to put your hands on your child. And by hands, I mean pop their hand, a belt, you know what I'm saying? But kill? That is unacceptable. Especially for a 3-year-old girl. So what could possibly be the motive for a mother to harm her own child that is 3 years of age? What could the little girl have possibly done? That is the question. That is the missing puzzle piece And that will be what we are looking for today. Because in every crime, there's a motive. So what would be a mother's motive to do that to her 3-year-old girl? There's literally none I could possibly think of that could be a valid reason or a valid motive for anyone to do that to anybody, especially a 3-year-old girl, especially a mother, especially the mother of a 3-year-old girl. But that's the missing puzzle piece. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm with you, you are with me.
Admitted to me that she's been trying.
I ain't gonna lie, I might start wearing suits every single case that we on for now on. Y'all boys let me know in the comments if I should start wearing suits. You know what I'm saying? I might just do it anyway, even if y'all don't say you should wear suits. But if y'all willing to give me y'all opinion, y'all let me know, should I wear suits when I'm on these cases? You know what I'm saying? You know, I think it would be more of a professional look, professional attire when I'm solving these cases. You feel me? Instead of wearing PJs, a pajama pants, and a hoodie. You know what I'm saying? It's very unprofessional of me. I'm sorry. You feel me? But y'all let me know. I might just go for a professional anyways. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a black suit. Maybe a suit to match each shiesty mask, each ski mask. You know, I got a blue one on. Maybe blue suit with blue mask. Black suit with black mask. You know what I'm saying? No cap. You feel me? Let's get into it.
Trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Kaylee, Caylee, Anthony.
Haley Anthony?
Yes.
How long has she been missing for?
I have no.
Now, I heard dead bodies have a bad smell. I heard they stink, but I don't know what a dead body smell like. I don't know if the smell is so unique that you would say, or it's so bad that you would say it smells like something's dead. I'm not sure because I never smelled it before. But anybody that has, y'all can vouch and let me know and inform me if the smell of death is a unique smell to the point that even if you haven't smelled it before, you can still identify the smell. If not, a curious question I have for her, the grandmother, is how do you know what death or a dead body smell like, ma'am? You know? But it's 50-50 because I don't know the smell, and you know the smell could be unique, you know, to the point that when you smell it, you be like, it smell like something's dead. Even if it's not a dead body, you can just think that for it to smell that horrific, it must be something dead, but who knows? Y'all can vouch for me in the comments to let me know for my people that smelled dead bodies before. But, you know, that's a curious and good question right there. How does Sydney Anthony know what a dead body smell like? So, yeah.
I've not seen her since the 7th of June.
Is your daughter?
As y'all can clearly see and can clearly tell, on this case I came not to play. You could tell by my demeanor I'm very serious into solving this case. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into it.
There?
Yes.
Can I speak with her?
She's downstairs. They want to talk to you. Answer the question.
I don't have anything to
hello?
talk to them.
Yes.
Can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me a little bit what's going on?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And you know who has her?
I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today, now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute.
Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
To give some context to this bizarre
I ain't gonna lie, that name sound kind of made up. It's too much going on in the name. But it still could be a name, but it seemed fake because it's too much going on.
Our phone call, Casey Anthony had left the family home with her daughter a month earlier, stating that she had a work assignment in Tampa and would be traveling the entire time. Kaylee's grandparents would ask repeatedly over the following month to see, or at least speak to their granddaughter, but Casey claimed each and every time that she was too busy with work and that Kaylee was with a nanny who went by the name Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, or Zanny for short. On July 15th, exactly 6 weeks after Kaylee was last seen by her grandparents, George Anthony received a phone call that the family car was at the impound lot. This immediately alerted suspicion, as it was the same car Casey had supposedly been traveling with for work. Suspicion turned into panic once they picked up the vehicle, and George discovered a strong odor emanating from the trunk, one that he recognized from his years as a police officer, and found comparable to that of human decomposition. Through contacting one of Casey's friends, her parents managed to track her down at her boyfriend's house in Orlando, where they were found smoking marijuana and watching TV. When inquired over the whereabouts of her daughter, Casey stated that she had been kidnapped 31 days before by the supposed babysitter. It was at that moment Cindy Anthony called 911.
911, what's your emergency? Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Who is that? Babysitter?
She's been my nanny for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
Exactly. Mind you, this is someone's daughter. You will be more like adrenaline rushing, more cautious, more eager to get to the bottom of something. Because number one, this is your child. Number two, she missing and you don't know where she at. If anything, in this case, she claimed and say she know who got him. Bro, you would not stop until you get answers or find this person or find out what's going on with your child. You will have extreme concern. In her tone of voice, do she sound concerned? And no, she do not. Does she sound eager? Does she seem like she's trying to get to the bottom of this? No. You can tell because she waited 31 days to say something about it. And not only that, she technically didn't wait 31 days to say something about it. Her grandmother said something about it, and that's the only reason why she's saying something about it. If her grandmother would have never said nothing about it, she would have never said nothing about it. Therefore, that shows lack of concern, lack of eagerness to get to the bottom of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird for somebody that's a parent to a child. You know what I'm saying? Normally, when it comes to your child, bro, you go like, bro, what? Like, bro, you go, bro. Especially they're missing, bro. You go be non-stop trying to figure out what's going on. She showed no concern at all. Guilty. She either guilty or she knows something. And if she knows something, guess what? Guilty. She cooked.
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid. I think the officers are here.
The officers are there?
Yes.
Now let's indulge in the world of fantasy for just a moment and pretend all of what Casey had just stated was true. She had indeed been working, and her daughter was in fact kidnapped by the babysitter a month earlier. The immediate premise most would gather...
Wait, what?
And all of what Casey had just stated was true. She had indeed been working, and her daughter was in fact kidnapped by the babysitter a month earlier. The immediate...
Oh, so she not lying. Well, I did just say she either guilty or she knows something. So even if she didn't do nothing to her daughter, she knows something. Like, what?
Premise most would gather would be that Casey had no regard for her daughter whatsoever. In the 911 call, there was no urgency nor concern in her voice, and rather than her voluntary...
What did I just say? Literally just say no urgency. I said eager though, but that's the word that I meant to say. Like, I literally meant to say that, but I still got the other part right. It's no concern in her voice. I should have been a detective. Y'all see how I'm breaking it down? Like, I'm literally saying everything the narrator said. She got no concern or she don't seem eager to get to the bottom of it at all. You see what I'm saying? And he literally just said she don't got no concern in her tone of voice and or urgency. The narrator literally saying what I'm saying. Like, bro, like, wait, like, bro, like, wait, like, if I wanted to, I could swap professions, bro. Like, this is too easy for me. Mind you, I ain't got no training at all, gang, and I'm breaking this down.
Volunteering information, which most parents would do in a frantic manner, it had to be acquired by the dispatcher through repeated inquisition. All you have to do is compare Casey's dialogue to that of her mother's in the same phone call. One was indifferent, while the other was distraught. Police would have picked up on this immediately. Even without the bizarre phone call, the circumstances alone would make Casey the prime suspect in her daughter's disappearance. She was immediately interviewed as a witness, which, unbeknownst to her, was the detective's first step in locking her into as many lies as possible.
The day right now is July 16, 2008. The time right now is 04:11 hours. I'm Detective Mellish with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. I am with Casey Anthony, is that correct?
Yes.
Casey, you understand this is being recorded?
Yes.
You have any objection to that?
No.
All right. Casey, I got called here in reference to a missing child. You took Casey to a babysitter's house?
Yes.
And who was this babysitter?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Okay. How long had you known Zenaida?
Almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years Christmas this year.
And where did you meet her? Who did you meet her through?
A mutual friend. His name is Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. I met him at Nickelodeon at Universal, and I met her through him. She was his son's nanny at the time.
Does Jeffrey still work at Universal?
No, he does not.
How long has it been since he left?
About 9-10 months, give or take. He moved up to North Carolina for a short time and moved down to Jacksonville within the last 3 months.
How would you characterize your relationship with Miss Anthony?
More or less acquaintances.
Weren't very good friends?
Not very good friends.
Did you ever work at Universal Studios?
I did.
When did you work at Universal Studios?
Approximately 2002.
How long did you work there for?
1 year.
Did you ever work there at the same time that Casey Anthony worked there?
I don't think so.
You don't recall ever seeing her there?
Never.
Did you ever introduce Casey Anthony to a woman by the name of Zenaida Gonzalez?
I did not.
Did you ever use Zenaida Gonzalez as a nanny?
No, sir.
Do you have any children?
No, sir.
Have you lived in the Orlando area consistently since 2002?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever lived in Jacksonville?
No, sir.
Have you ever lived in North Carolina?
No, sir.
Did you see Casey Anthony in the month of June of 2008?
No, sir.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
About a week and a half ago.
Do you know a telephone number for him?
I can find a number for him. I don't know a number offhand. No, I do not.
So you met Zenaida through Jeffrey Hopkins.
I did.
And his son Zach Hopkins, I guess. Zenaida used to watch over Zach?
Yes.
And when did she start watching over your child?
It's been within the last year and a half, 2 years that she started watching Kaylee.
How would you normally drop off, or how would you normally do the exchange with your child and Zenaida? Would you drop the child off? Would she meet you somewhere?
I would usually drop her off. For a few months, we would go over to Jeff's house. He lived over in Avalon Park.
And you would go to Jeff's house why?
To drop off Kaylee. That's where Zenaida would go to watch both of the kids.
Okay.
It was in a nice centralized area. He had a decent sized house. It was good room for the two of them.
Go back to your statement. You dropped off Kaylee June 9th, and walk me through. You dropped her off to go to work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Get off of work and go from there.
I got off of work, left Universal, driving back to pick up Kaylee like a normal day, and I show up to the apartment, knock on the door, nobody answers. So I call Zenaida's cell phone and it's out of service. I didn't really want to come home. I wasn't sure what I'd say about not knowing where Kaylee was. Still hoping that I would get a call or, find out that Kaylee was coming back so that I could go get her. And I ended up going to my boyfriend Anthony's house, who lives in Sutton Place.
Did you talk to Anthony about what happened with Kaylee?
No, I did not.
Have you talked to anyone about Kaylee, about your incident with Kaylee? Or the fact that she's missing?
A couple people, a couple mutual friends.
Who did you talk to about it?
I talked to Jeffrey Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Juliette Lewis. She's one of my coworkers at Universal.
She works, you still work at Universal?
Yes.
What do you do at Universal?
I'm an event coordinator.
Okay. What is Juliet? What position is she? Where she work?
She's also an event coordinator. We work in the same department.
Juliette Lewis doesn't exist. Casey had briefly worked at Universal, but hadn't been employed there for over 2 years prior to this interview. And she wasn't an event coordinator. She stood behind a kiosk and sold photos of people after they had been on the Incredible Hulk ride.
You have a number for Juliet?
Ooh, offhand, I can't think of one.
Is she in your SIM card?
No, she's not. Some of the more recent numbers, her number just changed because she just moved back up north. She, within the last 2 months, has finished moving up to New York. She's subleasing her apartment.
So Juliet doesn't work at Universal anymore?
No, she does not.
What's the reason, I asked you this before and I'll ask you just for the record, what's the reason you didn't call the police before?
I think part of me was naive enough to think that I could handle this myself.
Notice she had a hesitation before she even answered that question.
Which obviously I couldn't, and I was scared that something would happen to her if I did notify the authorities or got the media involved. Just the fear of the unknown, fear of the potential of Kaylee getting hurt, of not seeing my daughter again.
I asked you this at the onset and asked you before we went on tape, and I'll ask you again just to make sure we're clear. Is there anything about this story that you're telling me that is untrue? Or
No.
is there anything that you want to change or divert from what you've already told me?
No, sir.
Cap.
Did you cause any injury to your child, Kaylee?
No, sir.
Did you hurt Kaylee or leave her somewhere and you're worried that if we find that out that people are going to look at you the wrong way?
No, sir.
Cap.
And you're telling me that Zenaida took your child without your permission and hasn't returned her?
The last person that I've seen with my daughter, yes.
Is she Puerto Rican? Is she Dominican? Is she white?
She's mixed. She's black and Puerto Rican.
Is there any underlying cause to why Zenaida would have taken your child?
Nothing that...
Did she ever make any statements to you about...
Only how much she loves Kaylee and how great of a kid she is.
And when you talk to Jeffrey afterwards, I'm assuming that Jeffrey's child is still with him.
His child is still with him.
You said Zenaida had family up in New England, up in New York or
Yes,
something?
she has family down south. Her mother and her sister. Her brother's in New York. She's originally from New York. Pretty much grew up there, moved down here, went to the University of Florida.
Zenaida, the nanny, doesn't exist. Casey never had a...
Told y'all. Told y'all. Told y'all. It sound like a fake name. I'm too cold, bro. I'm too cold, bruh. I'm too cold, bruh. Like, I'm too cold with it. Like, bro.
She's originally from New York.
Should have been a
Pretty much grew
detective,
up there,
man.
moved down here, went to the University of Florida.
Zenaida, the nanny, doesn't exist. Casey never had a babysitter. Being the retrospective viewer, we have the benefit of knowing these are outright fabrications, and these meticulous details are a textbook sign of a pathological liar. She speaks eloquently and naturally as if her dialogue is a reflex response to the questions she's being asked, when in reality, each of these minor details are calculated and deliberately placed for the purpose of deception, and the nonchalant, easygoing tone she employs is used to camouflage anxiety. Casey has not only become accustomed to manipulation, she has become extremely skilled in how to use it effectively. It takes us to the concept of nurture and how it most likely had a significant impact on her current circumstances. If we go through what we know about Casey's domestic history, there are numerous occasions where she had gotten away with things that most would not, simply due to the fact that she was able to continuously lie without conscience. A prime example could be when she was 18 years old and stopped attending class midway through her senior year. She literally skipped the entire second half of her final year to go hang out with her older boyfriend. Her parents became suspicious on several occasions, yet each and every time, Casey had some whimsical excuse to which she was given the benefit of the doubt. Then just days before graduation, her parents were informed by the school of her truancy and that she would not be graduating. When confronted, Casey's excuse was that her timetable was mixed up by the school, causing her to miss classes through no fault of her own. This is obviously a completely baffling excuse that no sane person would ever believe. Yet whether it be through denial or an overprotective nature, Casey's parents not only took her at her word, but even shielded her from the consequences of her actions. They lied to all their family friends that she graduated with honors, and even
She got a big fat stupid sig. I'm dead.
threw her an extravagant graduation party the day after. This is just one of the many occurrences where Casey faced no ramifications for misconduct. It seemed to give her
Bro, you can tell this like a little old, bro. I haven't seen red eyes in a picture in so long, gang. Like, you know how old that is? Like when the bro, only like, bro, like the only reason I know cause like I seen it when I was a kid. Bro, like this like so old, gang. Like, bro, if you know, you know. Y'all remember like when people used to take pictures, bro, especially in the dark, like it give you that little red eye glare, like that's crazy. This how you know technology and cameras advanced. I never seen no picture like that. That's like recent, up to date ever in my life. Even if you take pictures in the dark, I never seen nobody have red eyes no more. It's crazy how technology just advancing. Mind you, I think we about to be on the iPhone 17. They do be tough.
her the belief that no matter what she did, as long as she could spin one lie after another, or at least drag a lie out for as long as possible, everything would work itself out. The truth is that everything did work itself out when she was dealing with her parents, and she evidently thought the same rules applied with regard to national law and a missing child's investigation. After the initial statement you just heard, Casey was asked if she could take police to all places of interest. She happily obliged, and then proceeded to lead them to a multitude of fake addresses which she had nothing to do with. She then took them to her supposed office at Universal Studios and literally led 3 senior investigators to the very end of the building, taking over 25 minutes to walk to, before she finally turned around, put her hands in her back pockets, laughed, and admitted that she didn't work there. Completely dumbfounded, the detectives placed her under arrest and took her to a conference room in the building for what was essentially an interrogation.
Since I left you this morning, I've gone to every address that you've told me. I came over here, I've already talked to all the employees. I found out all these names that you're giving me are people that either never worked here or have been fired here for a long time ago. Okay, so where we are right now is in a position that doesn't look very good for you. Because obviously I know, and you know, that everything you told me is a lie, correct?
Not everything that I told you.
Pretty much everything that you've told me, including where Kaylee is right now.
That I don't know where she is.
Sure you do. And here's,
absolutely
listen,
do not know where she is.
let me explain something. Looking at you, I know that everything that you've told me is a lie. I am very confident, just by having talked to you this short period of time, that you know where she is.
I legitimately have not seen my daughter in 5 weeks. I didn't let anything happen to her, except I trusted her with somebody that had been taking care of her, that had been taking good care of her. Someone that she was comfortable with, that I was comfortable with.
What about Jeff? You said Jeff worked here until about 2 months ago?
No, he hasn't worked here for quite a while.
10 months? How long?
It's been at least 10 months.
Okay. He got fired in 2002. He hasn't been an employee here since 2002.
We put a lot more together.
6 years ago. So, this take place in 2008.
I think you realize we put together. My question to you is, we're in this office because our purpose in coming here was to do what?
I'm trying to think of places where I know she's been.
You're not answering my questions. Do you want us to help?
Yes,
you want to help us find your daughter?
I do want you to.
Well, a good starting point would be to answer the questions, okay? If I say to you, we're here because, and if you just ignore that, like I never asked.
My fault, y'all, boy. Let me get out y'all way so y'all can see. No cap. I just realized that my fault. I'm still here, though, y'all boys. Y'all can't see me, but I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hear this sexy voice, you feel me?
Asked it and go off in some other direction. Is that answering the question?
No.
Okay. Well, let's go through this again. We're here because
I lied, because I brought you up here, and honestly I was reaching for
No, stop right
avenue.
there. I want you to tell me how lying to us is going to help us find your daughter.
It's not going to.
Well, then if the main thing you want to do is find your daughter, and you don't think lying to us is going to help us find her, why would you do that?
Because she do not want to find her daughter. She already know where her daughter is at. Duh.
Because I'm scared, and I know I'm running out of options. It's been a month.
What are you scared of?
I'm scared of not seeing my daughter
You scared of getting caught.
ever again.
I'm a parent too. I would have been beside myself.
I have been.
I would have called the police immediately, and that's the part that I just don't understand. Well, we've got so many resources out there that we could help on day one.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, they haven't been gone that long. Maybe I can find them. Maybe I can track them down.
We're not stupid.
They haven't been gone that long, bro. It's been a month. Like, come on. Like, it's like, if you go lie, at least do it good. At least be good at it. Make it sound believable. Come on, man. Look, we're not stupid, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're treating us like we're stupid. That boy getting mad, though. That boy, what his name? Melechi? Melikai. His name Melike? Oh, no. I ain't gonna lie. Brody getting mad, though. No cap. You can tell in his voice.
Okay, and what you're doing right now is you're treating us like we're stupid. Everything that's coming out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. Either you gave Kaylee to someone and you don't want anyone to find out because you think you're a bad mom, or something happened to Kaylee and Kaylee's buried somewhere or in a trash can somewhere, and you had something to do with it. Either way, right now, it's not a very pretty picture to be painting. You're painting yourself as a very bad person. It needs to end.
The truthful thing is that I have not seen my daughter. The last time that I saw her was on the 9th of June.
Remember we had those two people that we were talking about, the person who had an accident and a person who's just a cold-blooded, callous monster? That's telling me that you are the second person, this cold-blooded, callous monster who doesn't care and doesn't want to help because she's afraid that something so heinous happened that everyone's going to look at her and say, she's a monster, she deserves to go away, she deserves to never see the light of day, this bad thing should happen to her. I don't want to believe that right now, but you're giving me no choice. Tell us what happened to Kaylee. Tell us what happened to Kaylee.
I dropped off Kaylee. And that's the last time that I've seen her. I dropped her off.
Where did you drop her off?
I dropped her off at that apartment.
No, you didn't.
That's exactly where I dropped her off.
Did you just think that one day she's just going to show up at your house?
No. I sat around yesterday trying to figure out what to do. I'm glad that I ended up seeing my mom, that all of that stuff happened. It happened for a reason because
you're glad you saw your mom. You could have saw your mom 5 weeks ago and said, Mom.
Exactly. If it wasn't for your mom calling the police and bringing it up, bro, you would have never cared because you already know where your daughter is at. You know what happened. You know what you did, or you know what happened to her. Come on, man. Like, come on, gang. Like, why is we capping here, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, why we capping?
I don't know.
I saw my mom's reaction right off the bat, and it would have been the same from the get-go.
So wait a minute, you're more afraid of your mom's reaction than you are if you ever see your daughter again?
No, I'm absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. I know my mom.
Wow, we can totally hear that you're petrified in your voice. Totally.
Mom will never forgive me. I'm never going to forgive myself.
Is it that there's some other thing more important in your life right now that you just weren't really focused on what you were saying when you told us? So you kind of just accidentally told us you had an office here and we needed to be here? Or did you purposely mislead us? Which of those two is it?
I purposely misled.
Okay, so you purposely misled us. This was all an attempt to help find your daughter, right? That makes sense to you, correct?
In a backwards sort of way, yes.
In a backwards sort of way?
I'm coming back to places that are familiar to me, that I know are familiar to her. Familiar situations that maybe, just maybe would help. She's almost 3.
She's almost 3. What do you think, she's going to take a cab here? I mean,
I know
how did you think she's going to get here?
Because she's with someone else.
She's with someone else who's hid her from you for 5 weeks.
Yes.
And you ain't doing nothing about it.
Who has hid your daughter from you for 5 weeks, okay? Bring her to the building that you used to work at.
I don't know what else to do anymore. If I knew where she was, if something would have happened, I would have admitted that a long time ago.
Do you believe thinking up more lies to tell us will help us?
No. She's with someone that I absolutely do not trust, and that I'm absolutely scared that
you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now because of what happened.
Who did you call first? Who did you go to for help first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no one. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Casey was then taken to the county jail, where she in the evening hours was able to make a phone call, and just happened to see her mother on the local news moments before speaking to her.
Casey?
Mom.
Hey, sweetie.
Oh, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV.
Which one?
What do you mean, which one?
Which one? I did 4 different ones, and I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I've only seen 1 or 2 so far.
You don't know what my involvement is and stuff?
Casey.
Mom.
What?
No.
I don't know what your involvement is, sweetheart. You're not telling me where she's at.
Because I don't f***ing know where she's at. Are you kidding me?
Casey, don't waste your call to
No.
scream and holler at me.
Waste my call sitting in the jail?
Whose fault is you sitting in the jail? You're blaming me that you're sitting in the jail?
Not
Blame
my
yourself
fault.
for telling lies. You mean it's not your fault? What do you mean it's not your fault, sweetheart? If you'd have told them the truth and not lied about everything, they wouldn't...
Do me a favor, just tell me what Tony's number is. I don't want to talk to you right now.
I don't have his number.
We'll get it from Lee because I know Lee's at the house. Get Tony's number for me.
Hey,
Hey, can you give me Tony's number?
I can do that. I don't know what real good it's going to do at this point.
Well, I'd like to talk to him anyway.
Okay.
Because I called to talk to my mother, and it's f***ing waste. Oh, by the way, I don't want any of you coming up here when I have my first hearing for bond and everything.
Oh, by the way, I don't want you coming up here when I have my first hearing from and everything else. Like, don't even waste your time coming up here.
Anything else, like, don't even waste your time coming up here.
I ain't gonna lie, the way she talking to her, what, is that her mom? Yeah, the way she talking to her mom, red flag for sure. Mind you, right? Even like the tight dude I am, I ain't gonna say like I'm like a goody two shoes type dude, cause if I said that I'd be lying, you know, I'm gonna tell the truth before anything. But the fact that even a person like me, I don't cuss at my mom. I don't cuss around my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So the fact that she comfortable enough doing that kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like, I don't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, nah. And that's just out of respect for her, because, you know, she told me she was like, she don't want me cut. Like, yeah. Now, my dad, that's another story. He don't care. You know what I'm saying? He don't care. You know, so I guess he see that, like, you know, we both 2 dudes for real. So he seeing me like probably like, you know, bro or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, not like full on bro, but like basically by bro, I'm using it as like a substitute word as a certain type of comfortability with each other. So yeah, he don't care about that. But my mama, she do. So I don't cuss to or even around her. You feel me?
You're making it real tough for anybody to want to try to... I'm not going around and around with you. That's pretty pointless. Christina would love to talk to you because she thinks that you will tell her what's going on. Frankly, we're going to find out. Everything
I have
she's
no
telling them
clue where
is
Kaylee
lie.
is. If I knew where Kaylee was, do you think any of this would be happening? No.
Anyway, you only got a couple minutes with us, so I'm not going to let you completely waste it. Here's Christina. She thinks she can get through.
No, I want Tony's number. I'm not talking to anybody else.
Hello?
Hi, I'm glad everybody's at my house. Do me a favor, get my brother back because I need Tony's number.
Does Tony have anything to do with Kaylee?
No, nothing.
Okay, so why do you want to talk to Tony?
He's my boyfriend, and I want to actually try to sit and talk to him because I didn't get a chance to talk to him earlier because I got arrested on whim today. I just want to talk to Tony and get a little bit of...
I ain't gonna lie, it seems like everybody against her, they already see her guilty, no cap. But I ain't gonna lie, if anybody knows something, Tony probably knows something for sure. Facts. She seemed too eager to talk to him. The same eagerness, urgency, and what's the other word? Concern that she should have had for her daughter. She put more concern and urgency into getting on the phone with Tony than she is worrying about her missing daughter that she quote unquote don't know about. Like, y'all see the difference? That's how you can tell she guilty, gang. Like, what?
Casey, you have to tell me if you know anything about Kaylee.
Sweetheart,
if anything happens with Kaylee, Casey, I'll die. You understand? I'll die.
Wait, if anything happens to Kelly.
If anything happens to that baby.
Oh my God, calling you guys, a waste.
Look how she acted. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, she guilty. At this point, like I said, mind you, I said this starting of the video that the mama guilty. I instantly can tell. Like, it's just somebody. And yet again, I'm right again. Come on, man. Like, I'm how many and oh? I've been saying this. But at this point, we just watching to see what was her motive and why she did it. No cap. Because we already know she did it. We just want to know the why.
Huge waste.
Casey appeared in the court the next morning and was initially denied bail by the judge. He cited his reason as her undeniable disregard for the welfare of her own child. She was kept in protective custody, and it would be 9 days until she received her first visit from her parents.
Hi. Hi, sweetie. We've been watching you for so long.
You haven't?
I love you.
I love you too. Hi.
We've been seeing you sitting down. We forgive anything that you've said.
Oh,
or done.
Hold on. Can we turn the volume down? Yeah, you can probably hear it. My head's gonna explode. What's that t-shirt? I didn't get a chance.
Did she literally just... Oh, never mind. She probably mean like the microphone's too loud. Okay, I thought she mean like to what her mama said. I was about to say.
To ask him, other things besides.
Kaylee's picture's on the back.
Is it? Can Dad show me the shirt?
Yeah, turn around so she can see. It's the Never Lose Hope Foundation. Do you see it?
I can see part of it, yeah.
Have you seen me? And then it has the information on how to contact.
Okay.
Casey, you don't realize that the whole United States is looking for our Kaylee.
I know that, Mom.
Her cover's going to be on People magazine in a few days.
Okay.
With a readership of over 46 million adults in America, having your missing child on the front cover of People magazine would seem as a godsend to most. Yet Casey's response is almost as if it's a lost cause.
Everybody is looking for her.
Normally, bro, you gotta think. I ain't even a parent, and I know how I would react, bro. If somebody tell me, if I had a missing child, and somebody say, everybody in America looking for him, I'm be like, I'm gonna at least show some type of like, thank God or something. Even if I got a neutral tone like her, I literally be like, thank God at least. Like, I'm gonna say some type of gratefulness, cause like, bro, I'm eager to get to the bottom of this, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, she seemed like no care at all again. Like, she acting nonchalant.
Oh, good. Everybody is looking for her. Are we gonna be able to find her, do you think?
I hope we can, Mom. Now, I didn't get a chance to ask Lee.
Can you look up a little bit more? Raise your eyes up a little bit. There you go. So now, look straight up so I can look into your eyes, darling. Thank you.
Oh my God.
I need.
Oh no, she look crazy, folks. I don't know if it's just me, but her eyes, bro. I don't know if it's just the fact that like her eyes just naturally just appear more bigger, but the fact that her eyes genetically like look bigger than the average person eye that I see every day, combined with we knowing what she did, just make her look even more psychotic for real. Like, it's like creepy. It's like, imagine if I looked at you. Basically, y'all know how you pop your eyes like this? Like, that's literally look like her default state of eyes. Like how I normally got mine open, her default state is this. Like, imagine like it did like, nah, bruh. And y'all know that would be creepy and weird. Imagine the whole time y'all watch me, my eyes always like this. But I'm talking regular. Like, it looked creepy. Like, and then the fact that we know she guilty too on top of that with her default look of just make it even more weird and creepy, bro. Like, I don't know.
Need to do that. It's okay to cry, Casey.
She need to keep looking down. She making me uncomfortable.
It's all right, love. We've all been crying.
Setting aside morality and ethics for just a moment, Casey at this point would be emotionally exhausted. She had been sitting in an isolated jail cell for almost 2 weeks as the entire world was turning against her. Anyone in her position, guilty or otherwise, would be at near breaking point, and her composed exterior now finally slips. She, for a brief moment, allows herself to be vulnerable, and for perhaps the first time, expresses the pain of her situation. This is one of the few moments where Casey's true self is on display. Of itself, it's a touching moment between a mother and daughter, yet if we add in the context of the surrounding elements, she is only expressing this pain for herself. Just a moment ago, when she saw her deceased daughter's face on her father's shirt, none of this emotion came out.
Casey, I want to ask you just a couple questions.
God.
The rest of the visit is extremely bizarre. Casey's parents try to extract any information they can about Kaylee's possible whereabouts, and each time are essentially dismissed by Casey as if they're asking pointless and irritating questions.
Do we have any pictures of Sandy's apartment?
Lee and I already talked about this. I don't know. It could be on the disc at home. I don't know.
What is your... I can't get into your...
I gave Lee everything already. I gave Lee all of the passwords, everything we could possibly think of all over again.
I want to get some video clips off Kaylee, because the video clip with Grandpa is really helping people. Still pictures don't show
No, they don't show her personality.
Right, and we need to show her personality, so I need to make sure we get that password.
Yeah, I gave Lee the password.
Please look up, sweetheart. I need to see your eyes.
I want to be able to look at you guys, too. I can't look at you and look at the camera.
Well, you don't have to look at the camera. Look at me.
I'm looking at you.
Okay.
You're sitting very low.
I know.
The exchange switches back and forth from inquisitive and challenging to sympathetic and loving, and every time her parents stop inquiring over the case and show that they still care about Casey herself is when the tears come out.
Do you want to speak to your father now?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
I look like hell.
Well, you know something? You really need to keep your spirit high for all this.
I haven't been crying while I've been in here.
Well, you know
trying
something?
to read books and do other things to keep my mind off of stuff.
Well, you know, I want to be able to reach out and hug you and give you the big Papa Joe hug. But you know, we got to get that little girl back any way we can, and we're
Dad,
doing everything we can.
My only concern. I gave Lee a statement. I want him to speak to whoever in the media, give them a statement specifically from me. He's going to give them an exact quote.
Every time Casey's parents mention that people are willing to help with a search, Casey dismisses their credibility and even attacks some of their characters while she's at it.
Tara?
Tara from Michigan.
You mean Mark's psycho ex-wife, Tara?
Yes.
Listen. People like Tara, people like Jesse who are maybe trying to help, even Christina, God bless her, don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I want you to know, I want to take your pain away from you. So, you know, you can tell me anything.
I know that, Dad.
I miss you, sweetie.
I know that. I miss you too.
I wish I could have been a better dad and better grandpa, you know?
You've been a great dad and you've been the best grandfather. Don't for a second think otherwise.
Well, you know,
you and Mom have been the best grandparents. Kaylee's been so lucky. Kaylee is so lucky to have both of you. I can't even put into words how glad I am that she's had both of you. And that she still has both of you.
You know, it goes without saying, you know, that our house is empty without both of you there. It's empty. All the little things we took for granted, we miss them so much.
That's exactly how I feel.
All your little things and all her little things, it hurts. We're not there. Mom and I are just going through the motions, you know?
I ate coleslaw today. Tell them I ate coleslaw.
Well, you're probably eating a lot of things you never used to eat before, because when you're hungry, you'll eat.
I hated bologna. I've been eating bologna and cheese on occasion. Grits. I don't do grits at all. It's terrible.
Well, you know what? You're going to eat what's in front of you.
We get another glimpse at Casey's skill in fabricating information and her ability to intertwine specific details to afford her lies some credibility. These minor intricacies are what would make her extremely convincing if we didn't happen to know otherwise.
They never searched by her full name. They searched by Zenaida Fernandez, or Zenaida Gonzalez, never by her full name.
And it's Z-E-N.
Z-E-N-A-I-D-A. I don't think she has a middle name. There was never a middle name on anything that I remember seeing. And I know she went by both last names. She always has. Since she was younger, since her mom remarried.
So Flores Gonzalez, and you don't know what her stepdad's...
Fernandez Gonzalez.
But you don't know what Fernandez Gonzalez.
I think her her dad's first name is Victor, her stepdad, or that could be her real dad, but I remember her saying Victor. Victor and Gloria were her parents.
Victor and Gloria are her parents, but they're separated or divorced.
They are as of now, yeah. That was her stepdad. Divorced. But I know she has a lot of money. That's where she got the car from.
I only get 1 or 2 phone calls a day that, that are not nice phone calls, but I get many, many, many phone calls and many people reaching out that just believe in you. They believe in us finding Kaylee. Okay? So keep your head up high. But if you think of anything that could help, don't be afraid.
Oh, I won't hesitate to let you guys know.
You have to think positive feelings, Casey.
Oh, I know, I have been. I've been staying as positive as I can.
But do you think after this long she'd still be local?
There's a possibility.
What's your gut telling you right now?
My gut's telling me that she's okay.
Okay. And your gut tells you that she's close or she's hiding?
She's not far. I know in my heart she's not far. I can feel it.
Okay.
This was perhaps the first time Casey told the truth when speaking of her daughter's whereabouts, as she indeed wasn't that far away. Her attorney, Jose Baez, eventually managed to get her bail, and Casey was fitted with an electronic monitoring device and released on August 21st. She had spent just over 1 month in custody. 2 months later, police were granted permission to arrest Casey on the charge of first-degree murder. She was taken in for interrogation, but immediately requested her right to counsel. She was kept in the interview room while awaiting her attorney, and the released footage of that period is so bizarre to the point where it's almost comical. The detectives give off a passive yet glaringly obvious vibe that lets Casey know exactly what they think, being that she is guilty of her daughter's probable death and a fundamentally terrible human being on every imaginable level. Casey's response to this is to essentially ignore it and act as if the discourse between them and the situation itself is an everyday occurrence, one that perhaps doesn't concern the disappearance of her daughter, for which she is being charged for. You'll notice that she effortlessly maintains the same confident and talkative disposition that she had in her previous interviews with police. It's almost surreal to watch given the circumstance, and the visual element adds an entire new level to the absurdity. The first segment of footage shows the arresting officer waiting with Casey for the lead investigator to arrive. He initiates the conversation by bringing up the subject of Casey's parents. He asserts that he's worried about them, but the actual message he's putting across is that he essentially knows Casey is guilty and that she isn't fooling anyone. It's an indirect yet obvious accusation.
I was afraid that some of what I said to them probably offended them because I told them that if I find out something that you don't want to hear, I'm going to tell you anyway.
Well, honestly, they'll respect that. That's just, the type of people that they are in the same way.
I know they are. It was never my intention to piss anybody in your family off.
Yeah.
I'm not in it to get a conviction. I get nothing out of it. I get zero.
Exactly. You have a job you're trying to do.
I've found a few, and I've not found a few, and it sucks both ways.
Yeah, I agree.
So, it is what it is. But where I get sideways with people tends to be when attorneys get involved.
I've heard most people say that. They don't like attorneys very much.
I have many family members that are attorneys. I have no problems with attorneys. What I have problems with are, at some point, we have to set aside the rules and we have to find kids. And you know what? So be it. That's why I told you in the car. If you tell me anything now, I'll get up and say, yep, I heard it, and she'd already invoked it. We can't use any of it. That's just the way it is. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
The detective here has essentially just asked Casey for the information he knows she has about her missing child. Rather than retaliate and refute the blatant accusation, Casey continues with her sharp responses of accordance, as if to say she agrees, and knows exactly where the detective is coming from. Yet although she apparently agrees, she offers no information or follow-up dialogue thereafter. It's so incredibly awkward, yet equally intriguing to watch.
And, when we did another case that I was involved in, they lost a confession. And I sat there and I looked right at the guys that we worked with. I said,
that's not what's important.
Who cares? We found her. We found her, and he's going to get what is coming to him. That's not my job, you know. And it works out in the end. And it works out in the end on all sides, to be honest with you. It may not be comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
And I've done things that if I get caught for, I'm not going to be comfortable, I can tell you that. It's just the way life is, you know. But it's not the end of the road either. And that's what we have to keep in mind. It's not the end of the road. You know?
Casey then casually brings up the topic of the grand jury and the media surrounding her murder trial. She raises the questions as if she's talking about her favorite daytime TV show.
Yeah,
But if the subpoena itself is just a regular federal or grand jury subpoena, that's public record.
Yeah.
It doesn't say what it's for. It doesn't say what case it's in. It doesn't. It just says you're subpoenaed to appear before the grand jury.
Well, with them announcing that, you know, there was going to be a grand jury, and obviously my name was thrown out, they knew who the grand jury was for.
Who threw your name out?
All the media said that it was from an inside source, meaning in here. So that's where they all say is.
I can tell you what I think of the media, what I think of people who leak stuff to the media.
I think it's garbage. Yeah,
but
I agree. That's the next way of putting it.
That doesn't make it any less necessary. Without them, I'll be quite honest, without the media, we don't find a quarter of the kids that we...
Oh, I agree. It helps. The exposure has helped bring in so many tips for my daughter.
But at the same time, what it creates is it creates a monster that otherwise isn't necessary.
Exactly.
The tips are what the tips are.
I ain't gonna lie. They just been yapping so far. Like, bro, they literally just been yapping, gang. Like, no cap. I don't know what they on, folk.
If it was a local media only, it would be much easier to work.
Yeah.
When you make it the national.
They talking about a whole lot of names.
You get the Nancy Graces.
Well, you get the tips also that come from Hawaii that say, I saw Kaylee. Oh, really? Okay, let me call Hawaii and let me send them out. Let me do that.
Ones that are a little bit closer.
Those are what I consider local. Because the local stations are going to cover that. That's contiguous to the state of Florida. It's not.
When people are only getting their information from the Nancy Graces or from Globe magazine or People or, you know, stuff like that. Are you kidding me?
You're not going to break bad, right? All right. We're going to call him on my cell phone.
Okay. I know this is... Oh, yep, that's not good.
Pull it back there. Just slide your hand out. No,
I honestly can't. So they're a little tight.
Thanks for entertaining us. Just slide your hand out.
Way to go, Corporal Edwards.
Actually, if I could, I would have done that for you.
Do you know Baez's phone number off the top of your head?
No, I do not.
How can we get the cell number or his number?
I know his office number.
What is that?
407.
I've identified myself. You know why you're in custody.
Yes.
And you signed this. You want your attorney present.
Yes. Hey, it's Casey. I'm with Corporal Edwards. I know the last name. Sorry. I'm at the Sheriff's Department. If you'd like to come down and meet with us, thank you. Yes. And to answer your other question, from that picture, I cut my hair. It was really short even last year. I just started growing it back out this year, so just about that.
Okay.
It's been a long day.
It has been.
How was my dad this morning?
He had a hard time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I only saw from the media and got a chance to hear him talking to my mom. I spoke to him last night and this morning for just a quick second before he left, so.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning for a little bit. He was with Mark and, he was really struggling. I mean, you can imagine he was having a hard time. He was being called in to essentially provide testimony to indict you, to at least. And he was really struggling with that.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for him, to be honest with you. I truly did.
Well, I even told him last night. I know he was subpoenaed, and under the law, he had to answer whatever questions were asked him, and I told him to do what he had to do.
Imagine you were Casey, but void of any wrongdoing whatsoever. Your daughter was kidnapped 5 weeks ago, and now a detective who thinks you're the culprit is relaying the agonizing moments of your father providing information for your arrest. No matter how stoic or self-controlled your nature, you would most likely be in tears or completely enraged at the overwhelming unjustness of the situation.
You anxious about today at all?
I have been. I mean, this is something, honestly, we've been preparing for from the beginning just because of words that were directly spoken from Yuri Melich and also from Sergeant Allen. They were saying that this is what they were planning on doing from the very beginning, from that first day. So they wrote me off within the first couple hours. That was the only time they ever made any effort to try to talk to me one-on-one. And
No, it was kind of difficult.
that was kind of difficult considering.
Well, considering, obviously, in light of everything that's going on and the fact that you've been arrested for other things, makes it a little more difficult to sit down and even talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we haven't wanted to.
But I do have counsel, and
I ain't gonna lie, bro. They yapping.
my attorney's always been a phone call away.
Has your attorney ever...
Like I'm literally sitting here getting exhausted, probably even sleepy, bro. That's how much they yapping right now, bro. Like, go ahead and get to the point.
Told you that we would like to speak to you.
And we had agreed, him and I together, that we would all sit down together, him and I, and you guys, and, we entertain whatever questions you have, and...
There is no possible way that a defense attorney would actually sit down and, as Casey states, entertain any question the police have for them. Yet if we weren't paying close attention, we would take her at her word due to the eloquence of her dialogue and not realize everything she's saying is complete nonsense.
I actually thought that we made it pretty clear that, we wanted to talk to you. I mean, obviously, we can't come to you and ask you.
Yeah, understandably.
I thought that you were aware that if you wanted to talk to anybody, that all you got to do was simply ask.
Yeah, well, I know it goes both ways on that, and I guess it would have needed to come from me. I should have been the one to, come forward with it. But, we did open up that door to law enforcement before, when Sergeant Allen was making a big deal saying, well, we want to talk to her. When can we talk to her? And he's saying, well, the door's open.
I don't believe he ever told us the door's open.
What's fascinating is how instinctive and confident her assertions are. In any other circumstance, or even without the knowledge we have now, you would have no reason not to believe everything she's saying.
I've heard the words come out of his mouth, even myself, directed to other people that maybe didn't either relay the message or took it a different way, so I don't know. I think the lack of communication has put people in opposite corners when everybody has the same goal, is to find Kaylee. We all still feel, I as a mom, I know in my gut, there's the feeling as a parent, you know certain things about your child, you can feel that connection, and I still have that feeling, that presence. I know that she's alive. Whether you have a bucket load of evidence downstairs that contradicts that and says otherwise, or all you have is speculation, or nothing at all. I mean,
we have more than speculation.
As every tip and
that's
every lead followed up
directly.
Yeah.
That we have more than speculation. We have a lot, or else we wouldn't be to this point. A lot.
This was essentially a direct confrontation. The detective has just told Casey they have sufficient evidence to prove her guilt. Casey doesn't refute or even respond to the accusation. She instead falls back to her ridiculous dialogue once again, hoping the confidence in her voice will mask the absurdity of what she's actually saying.
Well, I said the same thing to them, that, they said that we're at the end of a hallway, and I'm thinking we're at the end of a hallway and there's two doors. Which door are we going to go through? Or I guess this is, we're at this point, and
we are at this point. We're
the final step is which door is walked through.
We are well beyond where we were before. I mean, those issues are gone, okay? And when you refer to we're at the end of the hallway, I think you are well aware of what hallway we're talking about. Do you understand that?
Well, so there's no question, I guess. You can specify that at this point, or what your perspective is on that.
You have a second? Absolutely.
Can we come right back?
Yeah, that's fine.
You plan on running off?
I'm not going anywhere.
So I gotta stretch out a little bit. I'm not as young as I used to be.
It's unfortunate that right when the pressure was starting to build, the second detective interrupts the exchange and they both leave the room soon after. Casey waits alone for roughly 40 minutes before her attorney shows up.
He's going to ask you a question. You don't say anything else other than the answer. Okay?
Casey, based on our conversation today, and I read you that form, basically just same thing I said to Mr. Baez over the phone. If there's been numerous requests for opportunities to speak with us and come to a resolution here. And that's why we brought you here instead of the jail. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on your request for us to call him and bring him here, he's here. So what we're going to try to do is give you a few minutes somewhere that's not recorded. No secrets, I told you. This room's recorded. I have to be able to approach my chain and explain why.
The detective now guilefully takes Casey up on her previous offer, where she insisted they were willing to sit down with police and answer questions.
But first, I needed you to tell him, in your own words, if you will, that you'd like to take the opportunity to deal with us like you've made that request in the past. So, is that something you want to tell him?
I told him the same thing we talked about before, that we would entertain any questions that they have. We would listen and discuss it, and if we have something to respond, we'll respond.
Okay, do you want to speak to me in private?
Yes.
So we can clarify this?
Yes.
It would come as no surprise that no conference was to be had. Casey was instead taken to the county jail, where she would remain for 2.5 years awaiting trial. Once this footage was released to the public domain, the consensus was that Casey at best was a cold-hearted mother, and at worst, a hideous, despicable murderer. But what's curious is that although these opinions may be accurate, they came from a completely misguided notion, being that her behavior in the footage was entirely genuine. Casey was in all likelihood being completely fake this entire time. So you might be curious as to why a person would actually fake such a poised temperament, when it would be far more fitting to fake sadness and despair. We all have aspects to ourselves that are ungenuine to a certain degree. How we act at a business dinner won't be the way we are at home with our close friends or family. The more comfortable the setting, the more we can be ourselves. Those educated on Casey's past would assert that she was rarely sad, rarely angry, but always this bubbly and agreeable personality, even when it didn't suit the situation. She was one of those people where something just seemed off, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it. The evidence put forward suggests that Casey was fake in every single setting and with every single person, all of the time. A trait that might go unnoticed in everyday life, yet would clearly stand out when shown under the microscope of a criminal case study. Casey had become so accustomed to this fraudulent way of being that it even came as a natural behavior to her in the extraordinary setting we see here. And the assertion is that because Casey knew just how well she could fabricate this character, she thought she could use it to mask her anxiety, and thus conceal guilty behavior. Casey, in all likelihood, had little to no regard for her daughter. That's not even an argument anymore. But her true temperament here would likely be far more apprehensive due to the concern over her own welfare. Every time the detective insinuated an accusation, Casey kept the same tone, same demeanor, and same confident, lighthearted disposition. If you took her out of this interrogative setting and placed her in the mall with her friends, it would seem completely normal. She would be faking her personality in both environments, yet we are only able to realize it in one. This type of mindset is linked to sociopathy. Whatever the situation or circumstance, they need to have an advantage over you. So how do they do this? They lie, and also calculate how they are going to feel and react to a certain situation before it occurs. The entirety of her focus was on making herself look good rather than being worried about the actual quality of her character. Casey, in a nutshell, was an inauthentic person, long before she ever gave birth to her ill-fated daughter. And her skill at deception alongside her manufactured personality is arguably the most terrifying part of this entire case. On December 11th, 2008, just under 5 months since she was reported missing, Kaylee's skeletal remains were discovered in a swamp less than a mile away from the Anthony household. She was wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket and then placed in a canvas laundry bag. These skeletal remains were discovered in a swamp less than part of this entire case. On December 11th, 2008, just under 5 months since she was reported missing.
Okay, 5 months.
Kaylee's skeletal remains were discovered in a swamp less than a mile away from the Anthony household.
Skeletal remains, bro. Mind you, she's 3.
She was wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket and then placed in a canvas laundry bag. Duct tape was discovered around the nose and mouth area of the skull, and her death was ruled a homicide. Prosecutors in the case then announced they would be seeking the death penalty. There were a multitude of discoveries made in the lead-up to the trial, and many believed it to be an open and shut case due to the damnatory nature of the evidence. On the last day Kaylee was seen alive by anyone other than her mother, and the day many believed she was murdered, Casey Anthony made the following internet searches. At 7:54 p.m. that same evening, Casey and her boyfriend Tony were seen in a Blockbuster video store. Kaylee was nowhere in sight, and many presume she was already dead and decomposing in Casey's trunk at this point. In the following weeks, Casey went out partying most nights. Just 3 days after her daughter's supposed abduction, she was captured in various photos participating in a hot body contest. 12 days after, she got a tattoo on her back saying Bella Vita, an Italian motto that translates beautiful life. She also made an entry in her diary around the same time which read, "I completely trust my own judgment, and I knew that I made the right decision. This is the happiest that I have been in a very long time. I hope that my happiness will continue to grow." The trial commenced on May 24, 2011. The gist of the prosecution's argument was that Casey suffocated her daughter with duct tape and then placed her in the trunk for a few days before disposing of her body in the swamp. The motive for the murder was the primary focus during their opening statement.
This isn't just a case about Casey Marie Anthony. It's a story about Kaylee Anthony as well. Kaylee Anthony was born on August 9th of 2005. It was a Tuesday. And Kaylee lived nearly every day of her life on a quiet residential street in Orlando called Hope Spring Drive. Casey Anthony, Kaylee's mother, appeared to all outward observers to be what her parents thought she was. A loving mother working hard to provide support for her daughter. But as the evidence in this case and the investigation into the background of Casey Anthony will show, that was an illusion. On Monday, June 16th, Cindy Anthony goes to work, as I've described, sometime between 7 and 8 a.m., and is out of the house until the late evening. George Anthony specifically recalls that at 12:50 p.m. on June 16th of 2008, his daughter Casey left the residence on Hope Spring Drive with Kaylee Marie Anthony. Kaylee was wearing a pink shirt, jean shorts, sunglasses, and a backpack.
Crazy.
And JoJo, George Anthony, kissed his granddaughter goodbye and never saw her again. In fact, no one but Casey Anthony ever saw Kaylee Marie Anthony alive again.
Why is she shaking her head? Bro, you know you did it. Like, bro, the nerve, the audacity.
The evidence in this case will establish that there is no other reason for the placement of multiple pieces of duct tape on this child's face, mouth, and nose other than the specific intent to end that child's life. No one but Casey Anthony had access to all the pieces of evidence in this case. The duct tape, the laundry bag, the blanket, the shorts, the shirt, the car.
You can tell how she acting, you know she guilty. I forgot what it's called. the lady that be right there. But yeah, she telling too much truth. That's why you over there like, no, yeah, you're done. You're cooked. You're done for. I'm just waiting to hear the motive. What you did it for.
No one else lied to their friends, to their family, to investigators. No one else benefited from the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony. Kaylee's death allowed Casey Anthony to live the good life, at least for those 31 days.
Although there was a lack of direct physical evidence tying the defendant to her daughter's death, the evidence the state actually had still seemed overwhelming, and they understandably thought relying on the facts alone would easily secure a conviction. The defense, on the other hand, were up against it. So not only did they use charm and appeal to sway the jury's attention away from the evidence, they dropped an absolute bombshell in their opening statements to create as much doubt as humanly possible.
On behalf of the defense, I want to thank you for the sacrifice that you've made in your jury service and coming here and helping us see justice. We know it's no easy task, and we intend, I'm sure both sides, on getting you home as quickly as possible once you have all of the information that you need. Everyone wants to know what happened. How in the world?
Wait, bro, I swear she beat this case. You better not tell me she beat this case. I don't know, for some odd reason, I don't know, I'm getting a funny little vibe. She better not been to beat this case. I don't know, it's just something weird going on in the air. Ever since the narrator said that, I don't know. She better not been to beat this case or got some little time game.
Can a mother wait 30 days before ever reporting her child missing? It's insane. It's bizarre. Something's just not right about that.
Yet she did it.
Well, the answer is actually relatively simple. She never was missing. Kaylee Anthony died on June 16, 2008, when she drowned in her family's swimming pool. Well, the reason we're all here is because not of the commonality of this tragedy, but of the uniqueness of the family that it happened to. You will hear about ugly things, secret things, things that people don't speak about, things that Casey never spoke about. On June 16, 2008, after Kaylee died, Casey did what she's been doing all her life, or for most of it, hiding her pain, going into that dark corner and pretending that she does not live in the situation that she's living in. This family must keep its secrets quiet. And it all began when Casey was 8 years old and her father came into her room and began to touch her inappropriately. This child,
bro,
at 8 years old.
Alright, bro. Come on, bro. Like, is this, like, do they got full proof that the dude did that? Because if not, bro, the links people would go to, bro, to not get in trouble is crazy, bro. Like, bro, at this point, they willing to throw anybody under the bus. And you know something? I don't even know why I'm actually kind of shocked. Because look what you in here for. So therefore, bro, you are that. Yeah, I don't know why I'm surprised. It ain't surprising that you would throw your dad under the bus and lie on him, but all right, bro. We just go keep listening, man. This crazy game.
Learn to lie immediately. She could be 13 years old, have her father's penis in her mouth, and then go to school and play with the other kids as if nothing ever happened. That will help you understand why no one knew that her child was dead.
The trial would go on to last 6 weeks, with the prosecution exposing the truly dark and deceptive nature of Casey's character. While the state relied on facts.
Like, bro, no way they just said that. All right, bro. Yeah, I need to go ahead and get this over with. But like it, bro. I hope that's not true. And not only that, is she lying on him? Going that far is crazy. Just to try to get yourself out of trouble. I don't know the full story, but bro, like, yeah, bro, I could have gone my whole life without hearing that. That is outrageous. Well, come on, gang.
The defense clung on to theory and proposed every conspiracy under the sun in the hope they would create enough skepticism and confusion. One of the more noted details of the trial was the courtroom presence of Jose Baez. He had an exceptional ability of narrative control and storytelling, and his capacity to create a connection with the jury seemed far more adequate than that of the state. This was recognized and mentioned multiple times in the media, yet the overwhelming majority of those following the case were almost certain that it wouldn't be enough to save the defendant. Closing arguments were put forward on Sunday, the 3rd of July.
When you have a child, that child becomes your life. This case is about the clash between that responsibility and the expectations that go with it and the life that Casey Anthony wanted to have. Casey meets Tony. Tony has this life. He's free. He's a club promoter. He's out there at night with the loud music and dancing, and it's a great, free life. So she has a choice. A life tethered to a child, or a life free to be 22. And as hard as it is for anyone to imagine, she had to choose between sacrificing two things. The first was her dreams and the life she wanted. And the second was her child. And we'd submit to you the evidence in this case. First was her. Imagine she had to choose between two.
Wait.
A life with the loud, this life. And the life, the case is about the clash between that responsibility and the expectations that go with it and the life that Casey Anthony wanted to have. Casey meets Tony.
Okay.
Tony
boyfriend.
has this life.
Okay.
He's free.
Okay.
He's a club promoter. He's out there at night with the loud music and dancing, and it's a great, free life. So she has a choice. A life tethered to a child, or a life free to be 22. And as hard as it is for anyone to imagine, she had to choose between sacrificing two things. The first was her dreams and the life she wanted. And the second was her child. And we'd submit to you the evidence in this case shows that the choice she made was her child.
Here we are at the end of our journey.
I ain't gonna lie. I assume maybe that was her motive too. But logic hit my brain and I'm like, I don't think nobody would be dumb enough to literally get rid of their child just to live out their 20s in a party, fun, responsibility-free type way. Like, I'm like, even if like, okay, y'all want the fun, y'all don't want no responsibility, you want to be wild in your 20s, do whatever you want, sleep with whoever you want, have fun, drink, smoke, party, and be out with your girl, whatever, man. But I'm like, I did assume that could have been her motive, but then I'm like, no way anybody on earth would be that dumb though to the point where they'd take a length of getting rid of the child, though. Like, to that, like doing all that, like actually getting rid of them, bro. Like, nah. If anything, I can see, like, if she wanted to live out her 20s, be like lit, whatever, right? I can see her like do something like, it's bad, but it's not on the level of actually getting rid of the child to the point like of what she did. But I could have seen her, instead of doing like give her kid off to her parents and let her parents take care of the kid while she go live out her 20s to the max lit type lifestyle that she want to live. But actually, yeah, this is what I'm saying. This what made me, even though when I got that thought, maybe that was her motive, I was like, I don't think nobody dumb enough to do that, because instead of doing that, you could have just dropped your kid off to your parents' house and made your parents raise your kids and never came to see your kid again. You see what I'm saying? You see how many other options she had to ditch the responsibility instead of taking it to the lengths of what she did now that's potentially going to lead her to a life sentence. Like, look how many options she had. What is foster care? Ain't foster care like, ain't this like something that if you don't want the kid, you can give them to like something? Ain't that called a foster home or something? I don't know what it's called, but let's just call it a foster home. I don't know if it's that or not. Y'all let me know in the comments. But she could have gave her child to a foster home. She could have made the child stay with the dad. Let's say the dad not there, he don't want the responsibility. She could have gave it to the dad's one of the dad's family members or parents. She could have gave it to her parents or one of the family members in her family. Like, bro, you could have did so many other things, bro, than actually harm your child, man. But yeah, this is crazy, man.
And
all for a lifestyle.
Tell you that I probably think you have more questions than you have answers. And if you recall at opening statements, the final thing that I told you, at the end of the day, when everything is said and done, the one question will never be answered. The key question in this case will never be answered. It can never be proven. And that is, how did Kaylee die? I'm going to start with my biggest fear. I'm going to tell you right up front what I fear may happen in this case. And I want to talk to you about it and explain why I feel that way. This case deals with so much emotion. I know that there were times where every single person in here felt something deep down inside. Your rules of deliberation, what the law is that this case must not be decided for or against anyone because you feel sorry for anyone or are angry at anyone.
You'll notice that Mr. Baez locks the jury's focus on this while subtly concealing this. He presents the argument that the prosecution has purposely got the jury emotionally invested in the case in the hope it would push them towards a guilty verdict. Yet in this exact same statement, he himself is getting them emotionally invested for the exact opposite reason. While refuting the prosecution's supposed attempt to entice anger, he subtly attempts to evoke empathy. Say what you want about this attorney and the ethics of his conduct, but what you are about to witness is expertly done, and what many believe to be what saved Casey Anthony's life.
And that's
boy, ain't no way. She beat the case. Boy, she been not been. Oh my God. I told y'all it was something in the air rubbing me the wrong way. She been not been to beat the case. She either beat the case or they was lenient with her sentence. Because normally ain't for murder, right? It's 20 to life. So she probably didn't get a life sentence, but she probably got like a good amount of years. Man, hold on, let's just hear him.
Because obviously, we want you to base your verdict on the evidence, not on emotion. And it's my biggest fear because it's such a difficult thing for you to push aside. Kaylee Anthony was a beautiful, sweet, innocent child who died far too soon. There's no doubt about it, and that is not disputed by anyone. But to parade her up here to invoke your emotion would be improper. It's improper under the law, and it's improper as to the rules of your deliberation. He went on for a great length of time talking about this beautiful child, not on his evidence, not on the evidence that was presented before you. It was to set up the emotion for what was to come. And that is exactly how this case was presented. They didn't come right out the gate and show you the evidence. They gave you 2 weeks of testimony that was completely irrelevant and served only one purpose. And that was to paint Casey Anthony as a slut, as a party girl, as a girl who lies, and has absolutely nothing to do with how Kaylee died. And this...
I mean, but she is that. Like what? Like what? Alright, bro.
This prosecution was geared in such a manner that it was deliberate, it was methodical, it was thorough, and it was detailed.
Mr. Baez then focuses on the fact that the state has the burden of proof, and thereafter continues to intertwine the two essential features of his argument, empathy and doubt.
Don't speculate. Don't guess. It has to be proven to you beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. If you don't know what happened, it wasn't proven. We don't want you to tell us what you think happened. We want you to tell us what was proven happened. And that's the difference here. Because you know what? We can go on and speculate all day long as to the different theories that were posed before you, as to the different possibilities. But the truth of the matter is it must be what was proven. There are no mysteries to solve here. There should be no mystery before you right now. If you have questions, then it was not proven. And that's as simple as it goes. Now, back to what I was saying with their initial setup, the way the case was presented, the first couple of weeks. You see, the strategy behind that is if you hate her, if you think she's a lying, no-good slut, then you'll start to look at this evidence in a different light. You'll start to, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm seeing something that's not there. And start to actually discriminate against her rather than give her the standard that is afforded to each and every citizen in our country. And that is that the state, that the government come in here and prove their case beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. But you can get away with that if we can get a jury to hate her. But you're here to fulfill an oath. You've labored tremendously over this journey. And we're going to ask you to render a verdict of not guilty on these charges because they simply...
Bro, I swear, if she get not guilty, bro, like what?
are not proven. And they're simply not true.
For the 9th Judicial Circuit in and for Orange County, Florida, State of Florida versus Casey Marie Anthony. As to case number 2008 CF 15606-0. As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. So say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child, verdict as to count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Bro.
So say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. And juror number 12, were these your true and correct verdicts? Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Will counsel and the defendant approach the podium?
Well, I hope that this is a lesson to those of you who have indulged in media assassination for 3 years, with bias and prejudice, and incompetent talking heads saying what would be and how to be. I'm disgusted by some of the lawyers that have done this, and I can tell you that my colleagues from coast to coast and border to border have condemned this whole process of lawyers getting on television and talking about cases that they don't know a damn thing about and don't have the experience to back up their words or the law to do it. Now you've learned a lesson. And we appreciate the jury. Those of you that have been objective and professional, we like it. Others, we're going to be talking to again. Thank you very much.
Casey did not murder Kaylee.
So who did? So who did? Who did? Like, no way she got a not guilty. No way she got a not guilty. Y'all really gave her a not guilty. Y'all really gave her a not guilty. All right, bro. What y'all think? Y'all got, bro. And you know something? I'm willing to admit if I'm wrong. That's one thing about, I'll put the pride to the side. But y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Am I tripping? Because no way she got a not guilty. Bro, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. I pray. I want to hear everybody's thoughts about this. Because let me know if I'm wrong. Facts. Because if it makes sense how, for the people that don't agree with me, if y'all make it make sense, my mind could change. No cap. So let me know if I'm wrong. Facts. But until then, no way she got a no guilty. Not guilty. What do y'all think? Y'all think she should have been guilty or not? Because, bro, then what happened to the daughter then? That's still the... Then what happened? If she didn't do it, she got to at least know about what was done. It's her child. Y'all let me know. Bro, I need everybody's opinion and thought in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know. I'm begging y'all to let me know y'all opinion on whether she should be guilty or not in this case. Because, bro, if like I said, I still stand on what I said. She either did it or know what happened, bro. Okay, cool. She not guilty if she didn't do it, bro. But she knows something, bro. The lack of concern about her child, bro. Come on, bro. Even if she didn't do nothing. All right, bet. Y'all got that. Y'all got that. But she know what happened. She know what happened. Facts. Because the concern was too low. This is your child. She oh, I'm about to cut. Like, mind you, I've been trying not to cuss because, like, yeah, I've been trying to work on me not cussing. But, bro, she's freaking 3. The lack of concern about a 3-year-old girl. You the mother. You gotta, if you didn't do it, you at least know something to have a lack of concern. Like, bro, all right, bro.
It's that simple. And today, our system of justice has not dishonored her memory by a false conviction.
Like, no cap, bro. No cap, bro. I gotta see what the comments think, bro. I gotta see what they saying. The mother literally said Casey car smell. I even forgot. I forgot about that part. I forgot. Oh my God. I forgot about this. I forgot about this. I forgot about this. And y'all talking about she not guilty? The defense lawyer when she in a pool and close with we would never know what. Oh my God. I forgot about this part too. Oh my God. So I'm not tweaking. I'm not tweaking. Everybody on my side. Oh my God, thank God. The fact that she wrote in her journal that she's the happiest, oh my God, coming back to this mess. after she posted on TikTok wearing her voice. You know the host is looking for account. She is guilty. Exactly. Oh my God. I knew I wasn't tripping. Thank God that people are on my side. I know she guilty. Like, y'all bringing up stuff that I even forgot about. Oh my God. I forgot, bro. This the main part. This right here. I forgot about the mama said that. If that's not proof alone, gang, I don't know what is. The mother. And this part, bruh. He talking about in the pool, but talking about we'll never know. Come on, man. So the killing. So she wanted to go club, and then the jury let her go club. Exactly. The fact that he didn't know about her best friend. Exactly. The phone calls, bro. She, on the phone call, bro, she was being rude to people. Come on, man. If that's not a sign too, bro, like, what do you find the time to be bitter when something going on with your child, bro? Man, I'm getting off. I'm about to get off this. Man, I'm too emotionally invested, gang. Because everything, bro, I'm literally seeing that I'm not dumb. Look, did I tell y'all boys, everybody that's watching me right now, did not say this. I said, I assumed that could have been her motive, but I'm like, bro, she had so many options. And this was one of them. The sad thing is Casey parents would have probably gladly taken custody of the child. Even if she didn't act, she could have just dropped them off and left. Go ghost. Like, bro, I'm about to, man, let me read some of it. Man. She tried to become an influencer? No way. She's trying to become an influencer. Facts. Exactly. Y'all boys, I'm about to head out. Man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know. I genuinely care. I would love, man, to have a debate in the comment section. Man, let me know what y'all think, man. No cap. Love y'all boys. For the people that love me, love y'all. No cap. You know what I'm saying? No cap. You L for me, I L too. No cap. You did.